final segment of the show for today. We're talking to Alana McLaughlin, and she has given us some information concerning European dictators during the Second World War. And now she will continue her discussion in reference to those dictators. Why don't you pick up where we left off the last time, Alana?
Now, if you're just tuning in, we on the first two segments, we talked about my background in education. I'm Alana McLaughlin, 6th grader at John Early Museum Magnet Middle School. And in the second segment, we talked about Adolf Hitler, the Nazi Party, and how he basically was the cause of World War II. Now, in the third segment, I told you that I'd talk about Joseph Stalin and Mussolini. Now, let's start with Stalin. He was, when you rank these three men, basically, Mussolini would be like kind of the man in the middle. Like he wasn't, well, not Mussolini, but Stalin, I mean. He wasn't like the worst dictator, and they'd never be the best. But I mean, like in these three, like rating them about how bad they were, Adolf Hitler would be at the bottom, then it'd be Stalin, then it'd be Mussolini, because Mussolini basically caused the most trouble. Now Stalin, he's basically the same as Adolf Hitler, but in a different form, had a different mindset, and so many other things wrong with him. Now, Joseph Stalin actually grew up a fighter. Like in his, when he was a teenager, he had a history of being reckless, and he used to bully children, and even in church, he'd make children cry. He'd pinch them just for the fun of it. And he actually got kicked out of the school for stabbing somebody. And then the next school he went to, he also stabbed somebody. And then he openly admitted to stabbing his girlfriend in the arm. And these other people, he stabbed them in the hand. I mean, think of how painful that must be. And then he openly admitted that he stabbed his girlfriend in the arm. So he grew up a violent youth and then grew up to be an even more violent person. So those are some of the fun facts that I learned about Joseph Stalin over the weekend. And now let's get into the real stuff. Now we talk. So what's when you talk about European dictators? If you're also just tuning in, a dictator is basically like a ruler, a person that controls everything, the government, the police, the court. He controls everything, and then dictators also took away something from citizens, 3 things from citizens: the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, the right to vote, the right to be free, and the right to be a citizen. They had no rights. It's basically like how African Americans were in segregation, but much, 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 much worse. Because, I mean, when African Americans, they were beaten to death, and I mean, the Caucasian community didn't really care. I mean, because that's what they thought should happen to us. But back in Joseph Stalin's time, I mean, it was so much worse. They put them in concentration camps. They torture them, behead them, kill them, shoot them, slaughter them. They do so much to these people, all because of what? Because they were Jewish? They didn't do anything to you, but because they're Jewish and you don't think they deserve to be on this earth, they don't get to live. I mean, who are you to say that somebody doesn't get to live or does get to live? I mean, what? And so, yeah, it's kind of a comparison. Like, blacks in segregation is almost how Jewish people were to the Holocaust and World War II, and all these dictators taking away their 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. And now Mussolini, this man was a bad, bad, bad person. I mean, and he was a dictator, and he was just like Adolf Hitler and Stalin, but everything that they did, multiply that, he killed tens of millions of people. And I mean, that's what they all did, but why? What did they do to you? Did they steal something from you? No. Did they shoot your wife or your children? Oh, by the way, Mussolini had 7 children. Fun fact about him. But anyway, did they shoot one of your children? No. Did they try to steal one of your children? No. What did they do to you for you to kill tens of millions of your own people? You're supposed to be the guardian of these people, but you are just some evil being that decides you're going to kill them because they're not like you and because they don't want to follow you. And so I don't believe that's right. I don't think that's right at all. That's horrible. And it really hurts me to see all these people getting killed for no reason. I mean, why?
And Lana, I think one thing that certainly deserves to be talked about and pointed out here is that while we talk about these 3 dictators, you certainly want the audience to know that wherever you look throughout all of the continents, that you're going to find similar kinds of individuals. And these are some individuals we just wanted to identify as European dictators during the Second World War. We could have, I think you understand, could have gone to Africa. You talked about dictatorships in Africa, in South America, and et cetera, and et cetera. So we don't want to leave the impression that dictators
that
only
it only
exist
happen in Austria or Europe.